Discussion and direction from the council concerning a memorial tree policy program. I'll defer to Kyle. I think we will defer to Mac.
I've been speaking with Councilman Jones about this for a while, and I don't see it as simple as just proving that, you know, we can put trees in here. And what I'm asking for the council is really quite a bit of direction, because in looking at the other cities that I've spoken with, what they do, you really need to have control over your property, and you need to determine what type of trees, you need to determine where the trees will go, you need to determine who's responsible for it if the tree dies within the guarantee period, where can you get the trees from. There's a whole long list. In fact, I gave you a list of the questions that I would like some assistance with from a policy standpoint. One of the other cities that I got their information after I've received all these and sent it out to the council, one of the additional points one of the other cities made is someone who has a criminal record can't have a memorial tree, you know, put up for that person. And I hadn't thought of that. And so there's a lot of issues that just small things that you really want it all smoothed out so you can get it, you know, operating in the beginning. Now, I also did speak to the county, because the county has tentatively approved a memorial tree program. So I spoke with the county judge, and the county judge said they haven't worked out the details on it yet. So he was asking that if we do that with the city and get a program worked out, that they would be very interested in having something similar presented to them, or we present our program to them to really coordinate, you know, either one of the two parks or either one of the two agencies in using something similar.
I noticed in Heritage Park they had done a nice plaque. There's a tree that died. They chopped it down, so I don't know what happened in Heritage on that.
Which raises the question is, you know, just who selects locations, who selects the trees? If there's parts of it, you know, if we had a written policy, which shouldn't take much to do, you know, it's just there are some choices there that are policy level decisions, and that's why I'm asking for the council. And if they make those, help me with those, then we can get this done very quickly.
I'll defer to you. Okay. Councilor Randy?
Along with this, the city does not even have a memorial policy. I know that we did a memorial to Oakdale Music for Dennis Ramsey. I have been asked to talk with the city about a memorial for someone who recently died that loved animals, to be able to establish a memorial fund to give to the animal shelter. We really need to, before we even think about trees, we need to establish a memorial policy procedure, and under that put whether it's trees or to a department. We're getting more and more of this, so we need to establish a general memorial policy, and then underneath it put whether it's a tree or a plant or the animal shelter or Oakdale or bench. Yes, thank you. The benches. I really think we need to go the direction of establishing a memorial policy first.
I heartily agree that there needs to be some coordination, some policy that oversees all of this type of thing.
Because you don't know who to make the check out to.
No, and that then becomes a question of who's accountable for the money. And you know, it's the money that, if they establish a fund for the animal control center or animal care center, or whatever you might want to call it, who is really responsible for accounting for the money? It's private money coming in. In the past, they've just put it in the general fund. Any donations to the city have gone directly to the general fund and basically been lost at that point, because it's not accounted for separately and not used separately. If you're going to start looking at money for purposes, you're going to need to have some sort of accounting involved in that fund, especially as we consolidate our accounts down to a manageable number.
Well, I know in our situation, and I'm being personal, but this is doing it, but in our situation, the checks were made out to Oakdale Park bank account or Oakdale Park funds, because it's on their budget, the Dennis Ramsey Music Memorial. So I mean, I think as part of the policy, so that the money gets there, it would be, you know, to the city of Glen Rose designated animal care center in memory of something. I mean, I'm just throwing out things.
There might have to be something there about, do you maintain it if the tree dies? Are we obligated to plant another tree, or? There's a lot of things you gotta look at.
There are a lot of questions, but the overarching question that Councilman Ramsey has raised is a memorial policy in general is something the city needs to have. Because as it is, if someone just wanted to stick a sign up and nobody noticed it for a while, you may have a memorial there that you don't know about. And
What if it was something inappropriate, I don't know.
it could possibly be, you know, so it's.
You gotta have some guidance.
Some of the cities, you know, had their policies, it was trees or trees and benches, several of them had trees and benches, and that could be expanded to include memorials and that type of thing, because that's kind of what we're touching on with the trees and benches anyway.
Councilman Bryant has a question.
Yeah, if you're talking about, I would agree with Councilman Ramsey, but if you're talking about a separate type of policy, you can actually separate the financial to the, I guess, an object like a tree or a bench, because they're actually paying for that on, you know, separate from the city, and that would just be an approval of placement. I do like the idea about the trees, but one of the, on 13, there's several things that we would have to discuss, but 13 is, it talks about, you know, if it had to be removed, who would be responsible and where would it go. That would have to be something that would be discussed on an absolute certainty that this memorial is placed here, and we're not gonna have to worry about future growth. And, you know, the only two places I can think of is potentially a few spots at Oakdale, not counting expansion, and then the Riverwalk, possibly some there. The rest is just, there's no telling where they would end up going. And then also, as the mayor says, financial responsibility, the city would hold no obligation to care or to finance. That would be, and I don't know if we could create two separate policies for financing.
It's kind of like the Rebs Butler Memorial, they had to be moved. They put it, they had good intentions, they put it there, and the owner or something didn't want it there.
Right.
They had to relocate it.
I would not want to do that.
Yeah.
Those are just my couple of minds.
I'm not sure where the question really is right now, because if we're going to develop a policy, we'll also develop locations for trees. You know, I would think that any tree that is, for example, if we needed, 5 trees in Oakdale Park, and we put that as far as these could be memorial trees, if you want to pay for the tree in Oakdale Park, we're going to maintain it for you. And because we need the tree.
We like something we're sponsoring.
Yes, but we'd have the cost of the tree funded by somebody who wants to put a memorial there and have the plaque.
That's a little different.
Not particularly.
Not particularly, but
And then you start saying, okay, we need to designate tree areas where we have a building for.
I mean, it is verse if somebody comes to us and says, I want to do this.
We can have those places out there already figured out where we want trees to place them. That's part of the policy too.
Councilman Martin?
One thing I'd like to see us think about before we get head over heels in this is this going to create a new job? And we got to have somebody go around and water the trees every morning, prune them. That's my concern. Because you're getting the money for the tree, buying the tree up front, that's cheap compared to paying another employee to let it go around and take care of it.
Counter that, if we put several trees out there just recently, and that was our decision to put them out there. And so we certainly took on the obligation of watering and taking care of them. So.
Kelly Harris, Park Director, has come in.
Just another comment on the tree thing. I know somebody was saying on the policy you're restricting the type of tree. However, if it is a memorial, typically you're gonna pick out a tree that was that person's favorite tree. So you're kind of defeating the purpose there if you say, okay, you can do a memorial tree, but you can only do it in an oak or, something like that. So that's kind of defeating that. And as y'all just responded,
What if they want a hackberry?
I mean, and the whole point is, for 2 years, we will be taking care of that tree. We have to water the trees that we just planted, 15 of them, twice a week for at least 2 years before they take good root and actually grow. So there is maintenance, you know, on new trees. Now, I bought, you know, and another thing too is if you're gonna put trees out there, we don't want little bitty sapling trees that can be run over by the riding lawnmower easily, because I know in the past, I understand there have been some trees that were planted but were just bought from the Arbor Society that were small little things that got run over and mowed down. So that's why we, you know, prefer the larger trees. So that would be something else we need to consider, that it's a tree large enough to actually be recognized as a tree.
Councilman Martin?
I don't have a problem with buying trees for Oakdale because that's a business, and you want it to look attractive, I can see that. This is a different deal. But you look at, you don't have room to plant another tree here at City Hall. Where you gonna put one? And, the Riverwalk down there, there's a lot of trees down the Riverwalk already.
Those are basically all the city-owned property. We've got a little park behind City Hall, there's trees there already.
Yeah, so that's big, that's it.
The city here does not have that many choices of locations for trees. So it's almost, you know, you can put trees at the standpipes, you know, but who's ever gonna see it?
Are we looking at buying more trees for Oakdale, or you feel like?
Well, that's
you're-
one thing I was gonna say. Mike had made a comment about having designated places where trees can be, you know, planted out at Oakdale. You know, we are still having to take down some trees. Matter of fact, due to the severe drought, probably gonna take down 4 this week. Some of them are extremely large trees, but due to the drought, the roots of them are shriveled up so much that with all this rain now, you can touch them and push them over. So, for safety's sake, one of them's in the swimming pool area. I don't want it going into the pool or going over our fence and breaking the fence. But in that case, then we have an area, because when we lose a tree, my plan is to replace a tree. You know, we've cut down trees or lost them, we need to replace them. So then we would have, you know, slots for future areas to replace a tree that's gone down. But that would be something that, you know, okay, we got rid of this one, so we have a spot here for this one, you know, but I may not have enough spots, you know, for everything, you know, but that would be the best way. And, you know, I am trying to replace trees that were gone, you know, 3 or 4 years ago in order to give more shade out there and stuff. But it is a lot of pruning, trimming, maintaining the trees, checking to make sure the ones who aren't gonna fall over on RVs and stuff.
Any other comments from council? So I guess Kyle would be looking to you to work with Jim and Mike and find some policy.
If that's the subcommittee you'd like to appoint, yes.
Well, I'm not saying that.
That's-
It's done.
Well, I'd like to see us put on the agenda for either next month or that we develop an overall memorial policy, because we have had benches, we do have, you know,
We probably need to, since we've got the subdivision ordinance, it's top priority right now, that might need to be something.
but you can't really establish the tree memorial until you have guidelines, because the money's coming in the same way. So you can't really, you gotta work hand in hand in getting the basic guidelines for the memorial. It doesn't have to be at the June meeting, but you need to have an overall, in my personal opinion, an overall memorial guideline of how the money's gonna come in for each thing. And along with that would be certainly, you know, that it would be designated for a tree for Oakdale or designated for whatever tree for,
I disagree, I don't even think we need to pursue it.
Pardon?
I don't even think we need to pursue it.
not even a memorial policy, not
Good
regarding tree.
memorial policy, but to get into the trees, and all that, I think it's gonna lead to additional cost to the city.
But I would like to see us do the memorial policy, because giving to the animal shelter or giving to Oakdale, no matter how you,
Not just trees, Dan, how
Not-
about a general
a
policy?
general policy
I agree
that
with
says how
Yeah,
it
if somebody
does.
wants to donate something.
And if they want to buy a tree with that, you know, donate to Oakdale and designate it to a tree at Oakdale, then that money would go to the Oakdale Memorial Fund, where a plaque would be put in memory of whomever. Can we mesh those like that?
Exactly, I mean, that's what we're talking about, it's pretty much, Oakdale is about the only place we're putting trees on.
So it can still go under the general memorial policy of, it would be the check made out to the, I'm just giving,
My comment, let me throw back, you know, I think Oakdale's easy to work on. Again, that's one of the, it's gonna be a city expense, but it's also for the city benefit of Oakdale Park to put in trees.
I just want to make sure that we get a memorial policy because more and more people are going to want to do what, like the animal
The
shelter now.
issue with the county was if people wanted to put a tree out at the soccer fields, for example. Well, the problem is there is no water out there. They have to be aware of that when they put it out there. It's gonna take.
That becomes the county's.
It's the county's problem, but they didn't want to put any expense into it at all, and that's fine. If somebody wants to put out a tree out there, they're okay with that, but realize the tree may not survive without water. And, you know, but I think Oakdale Park is gonna be an easy one.
As long as it's Oakdale Park, if she can say, hey, I got enough trees, we don't need any more trees. And cut it off, even though there's a policy that you can buy one for Oakdale, well, no, you can't till we have one die.
Right, and there does need to be a criteria of the size of the tree as well, you know.
I've seen memorial picnic tables.
Yeah, there's plenty of memorial picnic tables or benches, you know, we can always use benches out there, you can have the name engraved on the bench,
Yeah.
you know.
You don't have to water it.
You don't have to water it, you don't have to trim it,
You're out there, come back.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
depends on what you got.
Okay,